Welcome back, everyone. Dustin here again, Average Guy Hi-Fi, with another long overdue video for you, but I won't bore you with the details. First, I want to give a shout out to Aaron's Audio Corner. If you guys don't follow him, be sure to check out his channel. He's one of the reasons that I'm actually sitting next to this speaker right here. I was doing a bunch of research trying to figure out what my main LCR would be, and after I watched his reviews and kind of watched some other reviews, like from Steve Guttenberg, things like that, I kind of narrowed it down to these. So what these are is the KEF R3 bookshelf speakers. These are a three-way design. They are a bass reflex design as well too, and they checked a lot of the boxes that I was kind of looking for speakers. I wasn't looking for anything that was too harsh. I was looking for something that had decent bass response, but I have subwoofers that kind of carry that load. But I was really kind of just looking for something that didn't color the sound too much. And every time I would watch the videos, that seems to be one of the trends that people were saying about them. This is quite a bit of a splurge for me, and I know it would be for you guys out there, that especially that follow this channel. I seem to be attracting people that a little bit lower budgets, kind of getting in. It's taken me 20 years in this hobby to be able to kind of fork out this kind of cash for a pair of bookshelf speakers. And actually I have all three now. I have the matching center channel as well too. So I'll probably do a video later down the road for that. But these have an MSRP of about $21.99. I believe the metas are around the corner. That's probably what the reason I got them on sale. My price I ended up paying was $16.99. Got them at Best Buy. Actually just walked in there and they had the sale going, so I grabbed a pair of the walnuts. They are available in this kind of walnut color. They're also available in a gloss black, which is really sharp looking. I was kind of contemplating those as well too, in a white, which is great too in the right kind of room. But I ended up going with the walnut because they match my Ames replica chairs that I have out there, and I've already got like the black Rel subwoofers and things like that. So that's the color I ended up with, and I really kind of like this, almost like a copper color, not copper like Klipsch copper, but like a peach color. I thought the look of it was just very classic, kind of like a mid-century modern, which is the type of stuff that I like the style of. And I'm only in 600 and something square feet, so they need to look really good. They're not going in a dark theater where you can just want like the most sound. I wanted something that was actually kind of beautiful too. And I'll tell you what, this walnut in person definitely looks better in person than it would if you kind of are just looking at it here on the video. But anyway, again, these are quite expensive. $2,200 speakers. I was about $1,700 plus tax into them. I was very happy to snatch up that deal. And again, the rumor is that the metas are around the corner for these. But you know what? I don't need to be on the leading edge. I'd much rather save that chunk of change and put it towards something else than trying to be the first guy on the block with something. That's kind of the way I roll. Again, these are bass reflex, so they have a rear ported design. This is actually a flexible port. If you put your hands in there, it actually has like a little bit of a cushion. In KEF, the measurements and all that stuff from Aaron's Audio Corner, it seems to be a very good port. Not a whole lot of port noise coming out of these things, even when there's some stress put on them. They have a 5-way binding post, but again, KEF does something a little bit unique. These would have is called a link. So instead of having your internal jumpers kind of connecting the binding posts, it has a link here in the middle. So you would just turn this to connect the negative to the negative and the positive to positive. Or if you're going to buy wire these things, then you would just leave them unlinked, basically. But kind of what KEF's signature is, and really what a lot of the people like the sound and everything of these type of speakers are, at least it's point source speakers. So this is the Uni-Q driver array. So it has a 5-inch mid. It has a 1-inch aluminum vented dome tweeter. And these things are so heavy, and I tore something in my shoulder, so I can't lift it up and show you. But this has like a tangerine style, kind of like a waveguide. Again, we've talked about this before. So it kind of evenly disperses the sound across the front. And this is a shadow flare. This is something else that KEF recommends. So the cabinet doesn't get in the way of the frequencies, basically. So it does a better job kind of transitioning from the speaker itself out into the room. And you know, I'm not as critical of a listener as, like, say, somebody like Aaron's Audio Corner, some of the other YouTubers that are out there that I just love. But when I hooked these things up and I tested them out, I just instantly loved them. And I went from those Klipsch THX Ultra 2 650s, which I really love too, to these. So it was kind of big shoes to fill. But anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit later down the road. They claim that KEF claims that these go down to 38 hertz. So again, I think that that's usually that's like an ideal situation in just about every room. I'm doing the heavy lifting with a pair of Rel subwoofers, so I got these things crossed over at 80 hertz. That seems to be about the sweet spot, but they will definitely go down below that when demanded. They're 87 dB, so they're not as efficient as some of the Klipsch speakers, but I think that KEF does a little bit better job of being honest with their numbers. Not that Klipsch isn't honest. I think they're more optimistic with those numbers, because whenever they get tested, sometimes the sensitivity isn't quite low as they represent. Anyway, so again, this is the 5-way binding posts. It has the recommended power from 15 to 180 watts. I've been running them off of my Emotiva mono blocks back here for the 2-channel setup, and then I've also been running them off my Monolith 5X, which is 200 watts, and they like the juice, I can tell you that. I haven't had a chance to run them off my Lexicon RV6 yet, but just knowing right when I hooked them up to some good power, these things really, really shined. So they're about 16.5 inches tall, so a pretty big bookshelf speaker. At the end of this video, I'll show you it side by side with the Klipsch RP600Ms. You guys will have to help me out. What should be my next bookshelf speaker that's my mainstay in my 2-channel setup? I want to get something that's a little bit affordable, because that's kind of what I'm like catering towards. My brain was kind of telling me maybe ELAC, some Polks, things like that. But give me your thoughts in the comments below. They're about 8 inches wide, and they're about 13 inches deep. And again, like I mentioned, I got something torn in my arm here. I'd show you guys a close-up of them, but they're about 30 pounds a piece, so they're pretty heavy. So I did do an unboxing video of this. You guys have been so nice on the forums. I'm a member of like home theater forums and the Youthman forum, things like that. So every once in a while, I'll post a picture of these, because people are like, hey, what do you guys think about the R3s? And I'll post a picture, and people are like, hey, please do your review. So I'm so sorry it's been long overdue, but now we're kind of getting it out of the way. One of the other reasons that I've been I kind of got disheartened. I knew this would happen, but it was kind of a shock when I went in there and actually paid attention to how many of my videos got copyrighted. Anytime I play any music, all those videos are copyrighted. So I'm going to do something different. Hopefully you guys will still stick around with the channel. I'm just going to post the sound demo between these and the Klipsch RP600Ms in a separate video. That thing could be copyrighted all at once. I haven't monetized this channel anyway, so I'm not that worried about it. But one day I was maybe hoping on doing that. I got so many views, lots of subscribers. I would maybe like to turn this into a little bit of extra money, especially with kind of everything that's going on in the world. But that's kind of so I'm going to give you guys a sound demo. It's going to be in a second video. I'll put it in the link below. Again, we've talked about this over and over. Gene De La Salle over it. I mean, he definitely tells us you got to listen to speakers in person. He doesn't really like people showing the audio clips anyway, because I'm using a little microphone here. It's going to my phone. It's recording it. You're streaming it somewhere, most likely, listening to it on a different pair of speakers. So I want you guys to get out there and try to listen to these things. But I think people like the sound demos. I know I do still anyway. I still like kind of seeing the speakers in action, and then hearing the subtle differences between the two on the microphones kind of beneficial to me. So we're just going to go from this portion right over to the average guy HiFi scoring section of the video, and then I'll put a link to the actual sound demo of these speakers below. So a little bit different, but hopefully you guys stick around. So stay tuned. Okay, again, I put the sound demo in the description down below, so be sure to check that out, because I level matched them and everything, kind of obviously the same amplifier, same song, same part of the song, so you can kind of maybe pick up some subtleties between these two. But here they are sitting right next to the Klipsch RP600M, which are not small speakers either, but when you put them side by side, you can kind of definitely notice that the KEFs are taller, they're a little bit deeper, especially when you kind of compare. I still love the look of the Klipsch RP600M, especially like a little bit deeper when you compare the binding posts, because the KEFs are external and then the Klipsch are more recessed here, kind of a little pocket. But I figured it'd probably come in handy for you guys to kind of see the two side by side. I know the Klipsch RP600Ms don't get all the best reviews in the world, seem to lack kind of an important area of the mid-range, but I've really, really liked them. So again, if you guys have recommendations on speakers that should replace these, or I know they came with the RP600 M2s, I'm trying to maybe mix it up a little bit. So give me some recommendations. I would appreciate your input. So now we're on to my favorite part of the video. This is where I give you guys the average guy HiFi score for the KEF R3s here. So we go off of 5 categories. We go off quality, we go off sound, we go off the MSRP, we go off the aesthetics, and then we go off my price paid, and then we give you guys a score. So just right off the bat, quality, I gave them a 9.5. I think that when you pick these things up, you notice the difference. Now, is it 4 times as bit higher quality than these Klipsch RP600Ms? No, I wouldn't say that. So that's kind of why I like the Klipsch speakers still as well too. Good quality, good sounding speakers, but there is something to these R3s that it's just a step up. I don't have the grills. I would show you them, but they're in storage. I showed you in the unboxing video these things, but I love the fact that both of these speakers do the seamless grill cover, so they're magnetic, so you don't have the holes drilled in the front. That's important for somebody like me. In fact, that's a deal breaker a lot of times. I know it's not for you guys, but the cabinets are very sturdy. They're super braced. Everything quality-wise. The binding posts, when you see them, it's like jewelry. Very, very nice quality speakers just overall. So 9.5 out of 10. When it comes to sound, I also gave them a 9.5. These had big shoes to fill, so it was one of those things where, again, when I was comparing them, especially for home theater, I mean, mainly what I bought these for, most people would look at me a little bit funny, but I kind of know what I want at this point in time, and these kind of checked all the boxes that I wanted for home theater. I gave them a 9.5 when it came to sound, even when compared to my, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of the Klipsch Ultra 2 KL650 THX speakers. Those things, I think in a larger room, they would probably win out just for home theater because of it had they're not bass heavy or anything, but these aren't really either. But I think that they gave you a much more like a throw sound to them. I think they would take more power. You'd be able to feed them lots of juice, and if you're trying to fill a large room, those would probably pull away from these. But I'm in a tiny place, as you guys know. So my room out there is like 12 feet by 16, something like that. I needed something that did a very good job kind of spreading the volume out across the front stage, basically. With this Uni-Q driver array and the tangerine kind of waveguide going out, I noticed that when I sit back my little tiny dining table about 14 feet from there, the sound comes from a much larger area. It has a larger sound stage. They do, people will always say Klipsch are bright, but the THX Ultra 2s weren't. I would say they're very similar when it comes to the highs. These have a beautiful, crisp high. They definitely do a good job kind of covering a lot of the frequency range. I do think that the mid-bass is much better on these than those KL650s, at least in my experience. And that had 2 6.5-inch woofers, and these only have the one. But again, 9.5 when it comes to sound. I'm loving them. I still might pick up some of those JBL HDI 1600s. But that's down the road. I can't spend $2,000 every year on new speakers. That's not my lifestyle. I'm always jealous of the people that can out there, and congrats to you guys. But when I make purchases like this, I'm probably going to stick around with for a little while. Now, I could switch these to my 2-channel and then bring in the JBLs. That gives me a little bit of a reason to put my foot in the door and make the purchase, but I'll probably hold that off for a little while. When it comes to the MSRP, I gave them an 8. Now, there's just no getting around it. $2,200 for a pair of bookshelf speakers for most people is pretty much out of reach. That's what a lot of people spend for towers in a center for a lot of the very common brands. But again, I knew what I was getting into. I got a tiny place. I needed them to look beautiful. These checked those boxes. I needed them to sound very good. They checked that boxes as well. So I kind of opted in and stretched it out a little bit, stretched out my budget, and decided to splurge on them. 8 out of 10 when it comes to the MSRP, though. There's definitely better deals out there. And again, when you compare them to something like these Klipsch RP600s, 600Ms, you know, when you put them side by side, there are people out there that have very, very detailed hearing, and maybe it's because I'm getting older. These give them a run for their money. So I wouldn't say that they sound 4 times better or they're built 4 times better. So you just have to weigh your options within your own budgets and your own styling and kind of what you like the sound of. I do prefer the KEF R3 sound over the Klipsch. They destroy them in the mid-bass region, areas like that, but I do like the highs a little bit too. It's probably a little bit less fatiguing, although the RP series kind of got rid of a lot of the a lot of the super high harshness that's available. Still some available, or still some are represented though when you listen to them, especially at louder volumes. So 8 out of 10 when it comes to MSRP. No getting around it. They were expensive. Aesthetics, I gave them a 9. I think they're beautiful. Again, there's the all black, the one that Aaron's Audio Corner had. That is a sharp looking speaker, and it would have looked really nice on top of my my new Rel subwoofers, which I got the Predators, by the way. I got 2 15s. Just loving those things too. So that'll be a video down the road. But I just, again, with this kind of a peach color, kind of like a copper color. This is copper. That's what Klipsch calls copper. But I would call it kind of a peach color in this walnut. I think they're just beautiful speakers. I have owned speakers where I maybe like the look a little bit better, but that's usually something that's a little bit more streamlined. You know, like the Definitive Technology STSs that I owned. I like a lot of looks of Market and Logan's with their clear electrostatic panels, things like that, kind of the wow factor. But just for classy, kind of mid-century modern, these very, very nice looking speakers to me. 9 out of 10 when it comes to the aesthetics. My price paid, I gave them a 9 also. $16.99 with $21 or $2,200 speaker MSRP. I got myself a good deal. You know, they're brand new, full warranty, the whole deal. Registered them, everything's good there. So, but then again, you're still up there quite high when it comes to the MSRP pricing. But I think I got a good deal. As soon as I bought them, I brought them home. Super happy with them. I would have bought them again. I'd buy them again right now, and I've had them for a very long time, as a lot of you out there know. So there's one thing that I almost forgot to mention with these speakers before I go. The shadow flares that are on the front. I haven't had this experience, so I wasn't able to show you. But I have heard if the bass driver's working really hard, it actually will push this little flare out a little bit. So if you own these, that can kind of mess up the sound. So you want to make sure that those are pushed fully in. I was hoping that mine would kind of do that so I could be able to kind of see if I could hear the differences. But mine hasn't come out at all. They're still nice and flush with the cabinet. So something else that I got, again, I apologize for the delay. If you guys have stuck around this video this long, just, again, my professional life has just been really, really busy. Which I know it's an excuse, but I keep getting subscribers, so I feel terrible. Every day that I don't make a video, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad. So again, if this is type of stuff you guys listen to, this is definitely on the higher end of things. So if you kind of are on a budget, I'm still going to be buying used stuff, swapping it out, testing it out. I've just been went a little bit crazy this year and bought myself new subwoofers, new speakers, and new receiver, but now I'm kind of done, I think, adding for myself. So now I'm going to jump back into buying the, and I've been buying myself these statues. I know you guys have asked about those things too, but geez, that's a slippery slope as well. That's like another, since I'm kind of done with speakers, I'm like, where else am I going to put my extra money? And it turns out it's into this little statue hobby, but I'm pretty much done there too. So I'm going to get back into it, start jumping on the deals. Go on my Facebook page. It's Average Guy HiFi. I'm sharing deals on there for you guys, just local here to the Seattle area, but feel free to post deals that you find. If there's something is a really good deal in your market and you're not going to purchase it, share it with the others. Maybe we can turn that into some type of little Kelly Blue Book type thing, or people can subscribe or go on there, be a member, and then you can get updates if you ever get like something that pops up in your area. Now, I just more of like the idea of it having the link posted and then the price, so people can kind of shop and see what's going on in their market again. So you have a little bit more of an education when it comes to the secondhand market. My next videos, I bought Klipsch 5s for my office, sold off my Emativa gear and my Aperion audio speakers, and just went with something simple. I'm loving those. I'll do a review of those. But I think my next video is going to have to do with the economy. And then how I can help save you guys some money, and kind of what my thoughts are, because I've been in this hobby long enough, 2008, when people were unloading stuff and there was all kinds of deals to be had if you had the money. So if I was you got a job, everything's good on that side of things, maybe start saving up a little bit of money. It's unfortunate, but sometimes people start unloading gear when they have to move and things like that. And I don't look at it as taking advantage. I think I look at it as helping people out, as long as you're honest with them and give them the price that they're asking. It helps everybody out in that situation. You save money and you give them money. So anyway, again, my name is Dustin. The name of the channel is Average Guy HiFi. If you like this type of content, you know somebody that's getting into this hobby that's looking for beginner type information, there's the Aaron's Audio Corners, there's the Youth Man channels that just kind of take the deeper dives. They're doing all the fun stuff that I want to one day, but I need my channel to grow. So I think that that's what I'm going to keep focusing on. Kind of the budget-minded, post sales on my Facebook page so you guys get up to date, all of that type of stuff. So if that works for you or somebody you know, help me spread this channel love a little bit. Again, my name is Dustin, and the name of the channel is Average Guy HiFi. I try to shoot my videos in one take there, but after I was editing that last video, I realized that I forgot to give you guys a very important part of the video information. Forgot to give you guys the actual score. You can just add it up yourselves, but it's kind of tradition for me to include it. So what I ended up doing was it was a 9.5 when it comes to the quality. It was a 9.5 when it comes to the sound. I gave them an 8 when it comes to the MSRP pricing. I gave them a 9 when it comes to the aesthetics. And I gave them a 9 when it comes to my price paid. So that is a 90% average guy hi-fi score. But I just figured I'd take this opportunity to show you guys kind of that link for the binding posts, the flexible port, and then a close-up of the Tangerine Uni-Q driver array, so you guys can kind of see that. But anyway, there we go.